Testing, test.
Test, test.
Testing.
Good.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Albridge Township Council October 12th, 2020 meeting in our new surroundings. I'd like to welcome everyone. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for a moment of silence and for our prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As customary in this chamber, we stand for a moment to remember those who are protecting our freedoms, both here and abroad, for our first responders, for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Mr. Peschetti, our prayer.
Dear Lord, bless your servants in the ministry of public affairs who serve thee in this chamber. Give us quiet minds and hearts that we may hear your voice. Help us to know when to speak, when to be silent. Give us strength to oppose the wrong and uphold the right, and grant that we have a good conscience and soul at peace with thee and with one another. Amen.
Amen. Everyone, please be seated. Thank you.
Brown? Absent. Mr. De Palma?
Here.
Dr. Greenberg-Belli? Here. Mr. Merwin?
Present.
Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Mr. Peschetti?
Here.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Here.
Ms. Walker?
Here.
President Sohor?
Here.
We have 8 present. This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the newspaper, and notice of the meeting has been posted in public places. Next open public meeting of the council will be held on October 26, 2021 at 7:30 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. As I said, we're very happy to be back in person. It's been quite a while since we've been in these chambers, and it's so nice to see everyone again and to be together. So I'm hoping that this is the start of a new era for us here in the chamber. So tonight we're going to start with certificates proclamation recognizing Zodi Mali for act of heroism during Superstorm Ida. Mayor? I have to look this way now. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to our new council chambers. And one of my requests was that when I do these proclamations, I don't have my back to the council, nor back, and some might say it's my better side, but I'm so much more comfortable now looking at the people I'm speaking to and seeing everyone in the audience. And it was, I'm just great. It's just so nice to be here, as Council President said, to be in person and to start off our meeting with the special guest that we have tonight. As Mary said, we have Zodi Mali, standing next to me at the podium. And I have a proclamation to award Zodi for an act of heroism. On September 1st, 2021, Tropical Storm Ida made landfall in New Jersey, bringing with it massive rainfall, 3 tornadoes touching down in the Garden State. Ida was one of the deadliest storms in recent years, having taken 23 lives. Ida caused far-reaching flooding and destruction to homes and businesses, resulting in $1 million of damage. During Ida, residents across New Jersey came to the aid of their neighbors in the most selfless of ways. New Jersey resident Alexis Bamonte, who's in the audience, please. Thank you. Alexis and her mom were instrumental in telling us this story, because we know Zodi would have not told us. So we were told, we were made aware of the situation, what happened, and that's one of the reasons we are here tonight. Alexis was traveling on the Garden State Parkway, making her way home during the storm. Alexis's vehicle was severely damaged by a hit-and-run driver, leaving her disabled in the center lane of the Garden State Parkway. Albridge resident Zodi Mali stopped his car, walked through at least 2 feet of water, and not only did he assist her in moving her vehicle, but also took the time to drive her home to a rest area to meet with her awaiting parents. Zodi is a veteran, having served his country for 10 years in the New Jersey National Guard, HHC 2/113th 42nd Infantry Division for 10 years. He is a recipient of numerous decorations and awards during his service. Zodi is husband to Marina and father to 3 children who also are with us in the audience tonight. He is currently employed by the Department of Homeland Security. Now, therefore, I, Owen Henry, Mayor of the Township of Albridge, the Township Council, and the residents of Albridge in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, do hereby acknowledge Albridge Township Resident Zoe Malley for your selfless acts of heroism during Tropical Storm Ida. Congratulations. Thank you. The point to mention that, Zodi, you're a relatively new resident to our town, correct?
Yes.
So-
I just moved here about a year ago. We were dead center of COVID. We bought a home.
Talk into the microphone.
I'm
Tell
sorry.
us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Recently, I moved to Albridge about a year ago with my family. Bought a home here. And I wasn't really sure if I really liked this town or not. But
What do you think?
I figured, hey, let me give it a shot. But since I got to tell you, first, I want to say that I thank you very much for the display of faith you guys have in my Lord Jesus Christ. And I accept this with humility, and I humbly accept it in his name, Jesus Christ's name, because I give him all the glory. I love him very much, and he loves you guys all very much. So please keep that in mind in your hearts. And always remember that we could all do all things through Christ. Again, I thank you very much. I did not expect this. I'm not on Facebook. It was my friends, actually, one of my colleagues. They saw the post that was posted on your Facebook for Albridge, and they called me up and they said, we want to ask you a question. We're going to read something off to you. This vehicle that was stuck. I said, yeah, that was me. And they said, well, this woman's searching out for you and everything. And I said, you could give her my number. But I did not expect it to go this far. So, by the way, Alexis, thank you so much for your mother. She's a kind-hearted woman. God bless you and your family. God bless you all, by the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Great job. Good job. This is yours for the group. Okay?
Would you like to cooperate?
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Council President.
Okay, next we're going to have some presentations this evening. That one. Yeah, okay, lights off. The bottom. Okay, that's live TV. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you this evening in person.
Thank you, Council. Good to see you again. Anna thought it was important that she provide the Council with an update of what's going on with the senior program. Silver Linings Building, as you know, it was severely impacted with COVID. And as you know, Anna has been very creative in continuing to provide the services that our senior population deserve. So we felt it was to give Anna a few minutes just to give a rundown and also put an end to some of the false information out there that the senior center is closed, and I guess people just like to hear themselves talk. So Anna, if you could please just give the Council an update.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Good? Okay.
Yes,
Thank
we
you
can.
very much, Council, for having me here today, Mr. Shaw, Mayor. I am very pleased to present this very quick update on Silver Linings. As the Mayor said, we have been recently getting some calls with questions as to when the center will reopen. Well, I'm happy to say the center has been open for the last 3 months. We reopened officially on July 6th. So as we have talked about in previous meetings, Silver Linings closed its doors on March 13, 2020, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. A virtual senior center was quickly set up within a weekend, where we started offering virtual programs, taught all of our members how to run Zoom, and also joined our Facebook page, that has now 325 members on it. We continued vital services such as Meals on Wheels and dialysis transportation throughout the entire pandemic. After 16 months of being closed, we safely, and safely is the key word here, reopened on July 6, 2021. We communicated all of our reopening guidelines, our calendar of classes and programs to all of our members via Facebook, website, and through wellness calls as well. The importance of communicating this information to them so that they would know how safe it would be to return to the center, and they would be prepared for how the center was going to look. So as of July 6th, members can come in for classes and programs, and however, they must leave after each class. Class space and materials and equipment are cleaned and sanitized after every class by myself and my staff. Members can make appointments to have their IDs updated for assistance with any social services. So we can do one-on-one appointments with them, anything that they may need help with. We can do at their comfort level, whether it's in person, via phone, and we are still doing via Zoom as well. Residents who are interested in joining the center can make appointments to come in and register as well. So as I mentioned, members currently have to sign up for classes in advance. At this time, they cannot just show up for class due to size restrictions that we are keeping within the classes. We are hopeful that will change very soon. Transportation to and from the center has resumed to provide transportation for members who do not drive. At this time, the county has not restarted its congregate meal site at the center. However, Meals on Wheels continues for those who need it. So we are continuing Meals on Wheels for anyone who has always been on the program, but also for those who are still not able to eat in our facility. The meals are still being delivered to them as well. Classes and programs that are being offered currently, so in the last 3 months, these are just an example of things we have been doing. Exercise classes, paint and sketch classes, mental health presentations, tech presentations. I started a treats and sweets baking class, Mindful Mondays, where we focus on our mental health and our mindfulness, crafting hours, and we also have included socialization hours in our billiards and card room, and so much more. It's very important to have a variety because our members all enjoy various types of things. We are not just a exercise fitness center. We are not just a art program. We are everything to everyone. So we wanted to make sure to offer something for everybody. All exercise classes and presentations are currently being live streamed via Zoom so that if members are not comfortable to come to the center or if the class is filled, they are still able to attend those classes. I have to tell you that has not wavered in the last 3 months. We still get about 10 to 15 people via Zoom each class and each presentation. I think that hybrid programming is here to stay in senior centers, and I'm happy to say that we're, as far as I know, the only center still doing this in our area. So this is a program we're going to keep going, and we still have our iPads and hotspots that we loan out to members who need them, and we will continue to do that for as long as it's needed. Since we reopened, during the pandemic, as you know, we started a plant club. So our Silverleaf Plant and Garden Club has been overseeing our food bank garden this summer, and which proved bountiful. Our clients received tomatoes, sweet peppers, eggplants, and herbs that were grown throughout the summer by the garden that was maintained by our garden club. During this time, we also started a book club called Silver Reads that has already met twice, and we're currently on our 3rd book. And the reason I'm talking about some of these programs is I just really want to reiterate that we have reopened. Yes, our reopening is not like how we used to be. We're going to get there, but we are still offering really a lot of different things. Just to give you kind of an idea, we kicked off our reopening on July 6th, which also happened to be the beginning of our 3rd quarter. So this was a good way actually for us to kind of calculate how we were doing. So far this year, we've assisted 867 different seniors and have provided 5,349 units of information and assistance. Information and assistance could be on anything that they need. Our numbers for the 3rd quarter grew drastically since we've reopened. If you look, The percentage is based on the previous quarter. So in information and assistance, we had a 10% increase in clients assisted and a 73% increase in units provided. In physical activity, obviously, because we were in person, our numbers went up drastically, both in clients and in units. And our transportation slightly went down because now people were coming in, but our units increased because we started offering transportation to and from the center. This quarter, we saw 263 different members come to the building for services, programs, and/or classes. And during this time, we also managed to register 53 new members. A lot of these members actually had found out about our center through our Facebook page. So our Facebook page has become a really great marketing tool. So we're going to keep that page going. But 53 new members in 3 months, I think, is pretty good. So what's coming up at Silver Linings? On the right, you will see our calendar for October. We have full days of programs. So even though you're coming for a class, we do have members that will come for every class every day. We may not be open in the same capacity as we were before the pandemic, but we are open and we are safely working towards the goal of reopening how we used to be. As you can see, we have a packed month with at least 3 classes per day, if not 4. November, I'm working on currently has up to 5 programs per day, so we're, slowly moving back up. Dialysis transportation continues, and as previously mentioned, transportation to and from the center is also available. Shopping transportation has restarted, and that's been a big hit, especially for our senior housing facilities. That restarted on October 5th on Tuesdays and Thursdays by sign up, and it's first come, first serve. We have gotten a lot of great feedback in the last week that we did it. We also did it today, and we'll do it again Thursday. And it's been going really, really well. So as I have gotten questions as to why we haven't expanded transportation to medical and all these other things, but it is a slow process because it has to be a safe process. This population that we're dealing with is high risk. We want to make sure their comfort level is there on our buses in the senior center, and that's why we are operating in the way we are. We're going to continue to work towards being fully open as we were before the pandemic, and as always, we will be better than ever. Thank you.
Anna, thank you so much. You're really amazing in terms of how you have kept that a lifeline for those seniors, especially those that the center was their only universe, so to speak. And you really were there for them and kept them hopeful, and had they knew you were there for them, a strength. So thank you so much. But I don't know if anyone else has any questions or comments. Councilwoman Walker?
I just have a comment. Great job you've been doing. And I like the fact that you're continuing the Zoom with the exercise at home, especially with the bad weather coming. They might not feel comfortable coming out, and I think that's a really great idea. I just want to say thanks.
I agree with the Zoom. I think that we are getting now questions about the bad weather and if it's going to be available during that time. And we actually are setting up our instructors as well to be able to do it from home should we have bad weather, so we're not canceling classes.
Because I think its social aspect is a real important part for seniors, and keep them involved like that. It's a great idea.
Yep, it totally is. Anyone else? Dr. Greenberg?
I want to compliment, I want to compliment you for all the efforts, the ingenuity that you put into the senior center. And also any time that I was over there to see the faces, the people really, that is their home. They look forward to going to there. So I can't imagine during the pandemic when they didn't have that. But you found a way to make it happen still, to keep them connected and make sure everyone was all right. And a lot of times when you hear things throughout the community, it's very upsetting when they say, oh, we're not doing this. We're doing that. We are the only 3 accredited senior centers in the state of New Jersey. We are the only one in Middlesex County. That speaks volumes for all of yours and Matt's work that you put into that department. And I can't thank you enough. And it's really so vital for them, because loneliness is a very sad thing. But then throw in a pandemic and what this has done to people mentally and with social distance, this is like a lifeline. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. And I just want to say thank you, and I want to agree with what you said. The residents are so happy that shopping has started again. I can't tell you how many questions I was asked when it's going to start back up again. They were so happy. You got a standing ovation. I was talking to a few at 100 Ticetown, just to let you know. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think that if it was important for us to spend the first 3 months of our reopening, getting our transportation back up and running, showing people how safe it was on the bus and at the center, and in that way we were able to transition now to bringing back transportation. We'll be able to transition to bring back medical transportation as well. And if there are extraneous circumstances or important things, we will definitely refer them to a service that will help them. So we will. Our door is no closed doors. Is the kind of the motto. It's even though I may not be able to help you, I will find the person who will.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Mr. De Palma?
Man, I just wanted to reiterate what everyone is saying and just thank you. Not only for this, for everything you've done throughout the pandemic. You are phenomenal at what you're doing between here and the food bank and everything else. Just thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a really great staff at the center, and our volunteers have come back at the food bank, so that's been a big help for me. I couldn't do it without Matt and our department for always stepping up, and all the other departments who have been there for us in Public Works, setting up all of our safety things that we needed within the building. So thank you, everyone.
Anyone else for a comment or a question?
Yes. Ann and Matt, keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for a question, comment? Okay. Thank you for coming this evening and sharing all this good information with us and with the public. And I think you were right. It's important to dispel any rumors, or any let's just say miscommunication. Sometimes with the elderly, when they hear something and it's not, what they get upset right away.
Exactly.
We know I'm getting to be that type of victim of that anyway. But in the meantime, I think it's great that you came out and just explained to everyone what's available. And everyone that's at home, we encourage them to please contact your office if they have any questions or concerns. And thank you again, Matt, too, for all you do. Thank you. Thank you again.
Council President?
Yes, Mr. Shah, yes.
We have Public Service Electric and Gas here making a presentation on the modernization improvement project. Public Service Phase 2 Gas Modernization Improvement Project will upgrade gas main and service line along approximately 23 miles of roadway within Albridge Township. Public Service Electric and Gas began Phase 2 gas modernization improvement in Albridge Township, beginning with Phillips Drive between US Highway 9 and Cottrell Road. Representatives from Public Service Electric and Gas are here tonight to provide a presentation on their facility improvements within town. Here tonight are Rosalie Sarpeglia, Public Service Outreach Manager, Kate Almeida, Construction Manager, and Kelly Sutter, Project Manager. Thank you, and I just want to recognize Nicole. She does great job working with Public Service and bartering road improvements and making sure that we get a maximum road resurfacing done when Public Service is working here. So thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Council, Mayor, just so we're aware, there was a small blurb in the last administrative report that Mr. Shaw had read on the gas modernization project that's coming to town by PSE&G. This is not something new. We had done, or we had worked with PSE&G before in the Madison Park area and also in the Southwood area. There's some additional areas that are going to be improved as far as their infrastructure in the Southwood area and throughout town. You'll notice that in the administrative report last meeting, we had discussed Phillips Drive, and PSE&G saw that we were doing improvements coming up on Phillips Drive. They were kind enough to move their improvements up in advance of this presentation. So I don't want you to think that they're coming after they're starting. They're coming here as scheduled, but they had moved that up for us. So tonight with us are the team from PSE&G who work with my office quite often, and now they're going to present to you their gas modernization project, Phase 2.
Okay. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening. Let me just move this closer. I'm a little shorter than Frank, so I apologize. But good evening. My name is Rosalie Sarapelia. I am the manager of gas construction outreach for the entire state. I'm standing in tonight for Mr. Lucchese, so that's a Herculean task. So I expect everyone to grade me on a curve because Frank is a one-of-a-kind kind of guy. Yeah, the mayor knows what I'm talking about. But yes, as Mr. Shaw had said, I'm here with our project manager, Kelly, and our manager of Mid-Central Gas Construction, Kate. And we also have a gentleman here who just moved. I was going to point over here. Boomer Blosh, who's our senior supervisor for gas as well. So we'll be here to take questions once we get through the presentation. I wanted to give just a little bit of an overview about this work. So as it was said, we have worked here before. This work kind of dates back to 2008 when we really started to have an accelerated push to replace a lot of our aging infrastructure. This was a initiative that was blessed by our regulatory body, which is the Board of Public Utilities. And in 2008, that really was our first foray into an accelerated replacement program directed at our gas distribution system. As you heard, the name of this current program is called Gas System Modernization Program 2. So as it's implied in its name, it's the second iteration, GSMP 1, as we call it, GSMP, ran from 2015 to 2018. The GSMP 2 program that we're currently in started in January of 19, and it's going to run through the end of 2023. So we do this work throughout the state. The intent of this program is to replace our cast iron materials and main and related services, and also our unprotected bare steel mains and associated services. And when we do this work in many areas, we're actually going to be upgrading our gas pressure. So we're going to go from utilization pressure to high pressure, which is a benefit for our customers. You might be asking yourself, well, what's the benefit, right? If you're a person who has high efficiency appliances, you're going to get better performance out of those appliances once we complete this work. Also, if you're a person, as we heard earlier, right, about the impacts of Ida, if you're a person concerned about climate change and those types of severe weather patterns, once we do this work, you'll have removed a system constraint to get a gas power generator if you'd like one for your home. Right now, if a customer wants that, they do have to go through a process, and it's sometimes we can do it, some areas we can't, and there's a cost associated with it. Whereas in this case, we'll be doing the upgrade as part of this work. Sorry about that. We also will be replacing the gas services that run into people's homes, as I mentioned in the beginning. And when we do that service work, we'll be relocating the inside meter sets to the outside. We'll be following the existing service line. So wherever the service currently comes into the home, we're going to try to work within that footprint. By putting the meter set outside, this will allow for easy shut-off access for PSE&G personnel and first responders. Other benefits to putting a meter set outside is reducing potential for inside gas leaks, as well as less customer inconvenience for meter inspections and leak surveys. I hope this is a brief survey. I'm trying to keep it brief. It gives you a little sense of why we're doing this and what it will entail. Kate Almeida, our manager here, is going to go through the presentation deck. But we thank you for your time and for the opportunity to explain our work and the benefits of it.
Thank you, Rosalie. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kate Almeida, construction manager for the project. Thank you so much for your time and for inviting us here. So we're going to talk to you a little bit more about the project that we have planned for Albridge Township, which is broken up into 7 individual maps, or grids as we call them. The grids are identified by our asset management team through a hazard index process, which really just looks at the leaks on the system as well as a historical main break records on that portion of the system as well. So in total, we have 23 miles of gas main replacement planned, additionally roughly 2,500 individual service replacements to the homes and businesses that are impacted in that grid. Rosalie did a really nice job talking through all the benefits to the customer, and I don't want to repeat, but really just to sum it up, we are really, it's important work that we do this. It's impacting the safety and reliability of the system in a great way for the customers. As she mentioned, it reduces leaks, the methane emissions. It does lower the consumption of gas usage based on the optimal use of the higher efficiency appliances. And again, as she mentioned, the meters go outside of the home, which really is improving the safety for the customers as well as, reducing the inconvenience of having to go inside their home in the future. So I'm going to turn it over to our project manager, Kelly Sutter, who's going to go through the project in a little bit more detail, explain the various phases of construction, what the customers can expect, as well as our rigorous customer outreach process that we have in place.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for having us. As Kate said, my name is Kelly. I am the project manager for this gas construction project. I'm going to try to keep this as short. The next couple slides are detailed maps. I know they're a strain visually to see, but we have been working with Nicole's team very closely to go over this in very much more detail. So if there are any questions, stop me. I'm just going to go through high level. So the first phase that Nicole mentioned earlier was determined based on the work on Phillips Drive that you guys have planned for the spring of 2022. So we did start that project last Monday ahead of, like I said, that work. So we're actively working on phase 1, which is map 403, which is Phillips Drive area. The bolded area on the maps are the streets impacted, just to kind of give you a visual on each map as we flip through. Our second phase that will be started this year, actually we are actively working on this second phase as well as of today. And again, it's ahead of construction. It was determined that we have an area on Marlin and Arvin that has to be worked through due to drainage and water issues that the town is having. We have to relocate our main that's out there. So we're started in this particular area on Madison so that we can get to a position where we can relocate our main and complete that work also ahead of the town. So those 2 phases have started and will continue through 2021 into 2022. The balance of the phases that I'm going to talk through quickly will not start until probably March timeframe of 2022. The next map is map 408. I'm sorry, I misspoke. The next map is 408, which encompasses that Marlin and Arvin area that we discussed. Phase 4 will be map 406, a couple streets. It does involve Bordentown Ave and a private right-of-way. Now, that understood that they are county, not city-maintained roads. However, we still present and work with the town because it is impacting your residents. So just that's why we have it here. Phase 5 is MB 404. Some of the main streets impacted are Cindy, Frederick, Grace. Phase 6, map MB 405, main streets impacted, Alpha, Bushnell, Cindy, Hastings. MB 410, a couple of streets impacted, Athens, Cedar, Cressus, Mercury. So overall of these maps, I know that was a really quick review, but it's a total of 122 streets that will be impacted from start to finish of this project. With us starting in October, we anticipate being in Albridge for about 18 to 20 months. That would take us to June of 2023. So it is a lot of work, a lot of residents impacted, and because of that, and like Rosalie hinted on earlier, throughout the state, we're working in major large grids everywhere. So we're in cities, we're in suburban areas, and because of that, we've taken a lot of time to work on a very robust customer outreach process. What we do ahead of starting the projects, how we communicate with the residents, the customers, the businesses, the schools, everything that we do. So I'll transition into kind of walking through that outreach. And the next slide, I'm sorry, is just a quick view, a visual of the work that we're actually going to do. It's 4 main steps. There's a lot of things that happen in between, but the four main areas are we're going to come out, we're going to dig the trench, we're going to prepare to install the new gas main and the pipes. When we are digging the trench and preparing, we are using machines to help us salt cut, to help us move that process along. Our crews will be doing this work, PSE&G crews, so they will follow behind. They will install the new pipes. They have to tie them in. We have to get the gas on the new mains. And then we transition into the service work that we've talked about through the presentation. That service work does involve us accessing the home, relocating meters, and doing the service connections from the street to the house. And the last part of the project is the restoration of the roads. So once we complete installing the main, doing the services, there's temporary restoration that's done. And when I say temporary, it's hot patch, it's made safe, it's made to last through the winter to allow us to complete the project in total before the roads can be milled and paved. So the final step is the restoration period. So part of our outreach process is we do have a website set up for all towns across anywhere we're working. The website is out there for a resident to be able to go onto, select the town of Albridge, and then in front of them is presented a list of streets, and we give a construction status. It's color-coded to allow them to know if the project has started on their road, if it has not started, or if it is completed or in progress. So we found this very beneficial. A lot of residents don't like making a phone call, but they can go to a website and get information. And then on that website, we also provide them additional ways to reach us, which is also a 1-800 number. The 1-800 number that is presented throughout all the documents we are going to discuss is a dedicated project hotline. So it's not a typical PSE&G customer service number. They are going to be able to leave a message, and we have a dedicated outreach specialist that will respond to that request, call them in person. We log any questions, any concerns. We work with the town to make sure they're aware of anything that came through from the residents so that we're all on the same page through the process. So the next slide is the first point of contact with the resident. They actually do receive a physical door hanger at their door. In the door hanger is a letter that details the project, high-level summary of what we've talked through, why we're doing the work, the program that it's under, GSMP2, and just kind of steps that they're going to see in front of them with the project. Again, our contact information is provided on the door hangers, the letters, as far as the phone number, the websites, any other critical information. Again, this is a little bit of an eye strain, sorry, but this is a copy of the letter that they received in the pamphlet that I just discussed. I'm going over the high-level project and our contact information. This is just a fact sheet that we also can provide to the town to put up on your website. We're working with Nicole to do Facebook posts, both on our end and on Nicole's end, any website updates, any type of platform that we can get to the residents and customers to get them as much information as possible. This is just an example. Again, it's when we to do the service work, we have to make that appointment with the customer. So they will know ahead of us showing up at their door. We typically by knocking on the door, leaving a hanger, making an appointment. They will be impacted from anywhere between 2 to 4 or 5 hours, depending on the work at the house. But basically, interrupted means they won't have gas service for a period of time to make those final connections and be able to relight their pilots in the house. And then something newer to our outreach process is when we are 100% done on the road with the services at the residence and the roads are in that temporary condition I referenced, we send out a postcard, kind of letting them know, hey, the roads are done, we're allowing for the appropriate settlement period, we didn't run away from the work, and that they will be hearing from us again. And then that transitions once we work through the paving and the restoration with the town. There's a whole other process, another door hanger ahead of us doing any milling and paving, and schedules are discussed and posted.
Hold on, Kelly. I just want to mention on this postcard, this is really an educational piece because a lot of times residents will see us leave and they'll see the darker patch in the road and think, oh my God, they're going to leave it that way. So we actually show them, this is what you're seeing, and that's temporary. That's that small picture in number 1. And then on the bottom, that those darker, number 2, the small number 2, the smaller pictures are the temporary. And then we show them what the final is going to look like. One's an infrared image where it's fully graded, and in like a year, it's going to blend in better. and then you see the mill and paved street. So we really try to get people to look at this so that way they don't see it and assume, oh my goodness, this is the shoddy result, right? It's not going to look that way. So hopefully people will take a good look at it.
And just from a statistic standpoint, it has cut down in a lot of panic that we've seen in towns when we leave, because we need to leave time. We have to, it's part of the process. We know that. We know the roads need to settle. We know we can't pave in the winter. So this has really cut down on a lot of panicked calls, a lot of inquiries to the town. So it is proven successful, I would say, over the last 9 months that I think we've introduced this, right? About a year, yeah. Okay. So this is just another letter that when, in the middle of doing all this work and COVID hit, PS had to make a lot of adjustments and we weren't able to access homes. So what we did was we put together basically a summary of all the steps we're taking on our side following our job hazard analysis, our processes, our procedures on what we're doing out working in the streets. We are, let me see if I can just skip forward. So we are posting posters out with, this is an exact copy of what our physical distance poster looks like, that we're practicing that distancing. When our guys are out in the field, they are currently not required, as long as they can maintain distances, to wear the mask in the field. But as far as entering the home and going into the customer's residence, they are required to wear a mask. We actually have a list of questions that we ask prior to entering the home. If there's a reason that we need to take a next level of precaution, like a respirator or any additional precautionary items, right? I'm not missing one, but we are taking those steps. So my point is that we are doing everything we can to work with the customers to make them feel as comfortable as possible in order for us to be able to complete this work. One of our biggest challenges, and it is getting better as time is going on with COVID and vaccinations, but everyone was very scared to allow us in their homes, rightfully so. So we've worked through a lot of that, and these documents and things we're doing in the field and the conversations we're having, we have seen an improvement, and we're able to continue this work and complete it. I'll just, again, I talked about this quickly, but this is just going back to it's a dedicated line. We are here for the customer. PSE&G's focus is always the customer safety and their expectations and our expectations of our team and our work out in the field. So this line has been created, and it's, again, direct contact to us throughout the project, not a random customer service number and hope they get to the right person. So in summary, that's everything regarding our outreach. I don't know if there's any specific questions at this point for us and our team.
Okay. Mrs. Walker?
Yes, I just wonder, when you're done with this, what percentage would be remaining in Albridge to be done in the future?
I
probably don't have an exact number.
I don't
was
have
just
a
curious.
specific answer to that. I apologize. What I can tell you is that just so it's 23. I don't have a specific answer for you. I can follow up.
I
with
was just
Nicole
curious
and
if it'd be
provide
like,
that
hey,
information.
Nicole probably knows, like maybe half done.
I don't think half.
Okay.
It's 23 miles of roadway,
Mhm.
as Kelly had said, but and we're 43 square miles for the entire town. I surmise, though, she's upgrading infrastructure that's old. Like, for example, the ward that we're in now have newer homes and newer construction. So it might be a percentage that would make maybe the town 50, 60, 70% good, because most of the homes in this denser area that we're in now are newer homes. So they're working predominantly in the older sections of town, Madison Park area, the Southwood area. Those are older homes, So I would say probably after this, and I'm sure Kelly's going to give us the information, that we would be above average. Above
I
the
was just
50%
curious.
mark. Yeah.
Because moving forward, our road paving, it's nice that they're working with us so they don't rip up roads that we just paved.
Yeah, and we also have a 5-year moratorium on roads, and Kelly has been great with us, especially in the Madison Park area in Southwood. And where Southwood, we had a grant from DOT to pave that road. She took that linear footage of roadway, that width, that square footage, she applied it to other roads. So instead of doing half width of those roads, or probably a quarter of the width of those roads just to complete her trench repair. She's doing full lengths and width of other roads to sort of barter with us. So PSE&G has been a great partner in that aspect. They see that we have invested in our infrastructure and our roadway. They don't take that lightly, and they pay it forward.
Okay, thank you.
I will follow
Oh, no,
up
it's
with
okay.
an
I was just
answer
curious
to
if
get-
we're almost there.
What I can tell you is when we came and they identified this work, our goal was to identify everything in Albridge, working with Nicole's team. So we've been working on this for about 6 months. We did expedite the start of the work, but I do have a confidence level that I would feel confident saying that 80% of the infrastructure at this point would be improved.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Pescitti?
Hi, thank you. Southwood was done last year, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So this is the same thing. So when will the higher pressure be activated?
Once we tie in the mains and complete the service work and we abandon the old infrastructure, it's there.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So each map will be different. If you're looking for like a timeline, it's as we complete each grid, complete the service work. So, the phased approach between now and June of 2023, everything would be in place.
So when did all this start? What year?
The actual program work originally across the state or just in
Albridge.
In Albridge, I think our first project was done between 2017 and 18 under the GSMP 1 program. Was
Thank
the
you.
first.
Anyone else? Mr. Merwin?
Is this funded by a federal program, or are you reimbursed by the feds, or?
No, this program is a filing that we put forth to the BPU. Like I said, it's not our first program. Going back to 2008, we had the SIP 1 program, then we had the SIP 2 program, then we had Energy Strong, which was actually targeted at areas that were prone to FEMA flooding. And then we had GSMP 1, which I mentioned ran from 2015 on. That was a 3-year program, and this is our latest program. This is all approved by our state regulators, and we collect back our revenue through rates. But I would just say something that you may not be aware is that public service, right? We're an old company, founded in 1903, but our state franchise actually goes back to like 1896. And we just have a lot of old cast iron. We actually have the most cast iron supply and distribution system in the country. The only people that come close to that is like Con Edison and the city utilities, and that's just by density they outdo us, right? So, like I said, 2008 really became a concerted effort, and this is all approved and reviewed by the BPU.
Who's paying for it? That's
In rates, sir. If you have a gas bill, if you pay a gas bill for PSE&G, part of it comes back from rates.
okay. And our roads, will our roads be paved curb to curb?
Councilman Merwin, if there's a 5-year moratorium that we have on a road, so if it was paved within 5 years, they pave curb to curb. If PSE&G is doing the house services and then they're pulling trenches to do those services across, half the road, we then sort of barter half width of the roadway instead of just a normal 18 or 2-foot trench off the curb line. We also look ahead to our paving, and if they're doing a road that we know is scheduled to be paved by our paving contract, we actually tell them that we're going to take care of that road in final restoration, and we barter a separate or a completely different road that they might not even have gas upgrades on, but they work with us on our paving.
Yeah, I just see this work going all around the state and other towns, and we're getting curb to curb. And in Oldbridge, we get half the roads done. That's a concern.
I would actually just, not to interrupt you, but I don't know what you're referencing, but I know as part of the stipulation with the BPU and the agreement is that the restoration of the roads, we unless it is moratorium, which is therefore ordinance required by a town, county, state to then pave curb to curb, and we have to do that road and we can't wait for the 5-year moratorium. PSE&G cannot agree to curb paving. We've worked for, I'll use an example of a town very close to here that we had to just spend a year and a half to form a resolution with town council. We actually have to file if we can't meet that resolution with towns because we cannot agree to curb paving through this program. We actually do have to answer audit questions from the BPU. Some questions that come through are about excessive paving. They want the investment in the infrastructure.
Thank you. You're back on.
They're looking for that investment in the infrastructure, not the roadways, but we are working with the towns to where we are impacting the road, what we are doing to work through that. But we also have to file a right of decision. If we can't reach an agreement with a specific town, county, roadway, and we have to walk away from that work because it is part of a grid analytical based off of priority leaks, breaks in the system that we're doing this work, we have to file a right of decision to the BPU if we can't reach it based off of paving because we have to document that we're not doing the work, not because of infrastructure, but because we can't reach an agreement with the paving restoration.
I'm just wondering how, with your 23 miles of roadway and your, how many homes was there?
There's going to be about 2,500 impacted
So we're
residents.
talking about 100 homes per block, 100 homes per street, how we're not impacting the integrity of these roadways. We're doing cutouts for 100 homes. We're doing some trenching for 100. I know a lot of it's underground, but how are we not, damaging the integrity of our roadway to protect, for you to fix your infrastructure? Our roadways are being impacted.
Well, I just want to add that some of the pictures you could see, there's the long skinny trench, right? That's where our main goes. And then you see the service laterals coming off. They're only on one side of the street. So that's why we typically, as a default paving spec, cover that trench and those services on that side of the street because we don't actually make the other entries on the other side. We sleeve it through. So there's not 24 to your scenario on each block of those smaller trenches plus the long main trench. There's half that. So we cover everything that we excavated. Just like I'm sure your water utility has been doing upgrades in this area. They don't pave all the roads curb to curb either. And one thing I'd like to point out that under the BPU approval and board order, we actually have a financial cap. We cannot come in over $1.8 million per mile. I'm happy to report that we've been able to honor that cap. And the reason why the BPU put that cap on there is for this exact scenario. They don't want the utility picking up superfluous costs that are then going to harm the ratepayer. So I would add that we can show you pictures of other communities and you can see the final product. And the thing that we're doing here with your engineer, I got to tell you, is the best thing going. I recently did a huge job in my hometown and we swapped and were able to get basically every street curb to curb because of the trading with the town and planning ahead. So I understand the concerns, Councilman, I really do. But I can assure you, we don't go everywhere else and pave curb to curb, and we're definitely not trying to pull a fast one on this town council.
Well, I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But the BPU is concerned about you spending your money, but they're not concerned about us having to tax our residents to fix those roads. That's, the problems that I have. You're making 100 cuts in a road, at least 100 cuts in a road, and you're going to tell me that does not impact the integrity of the roadway?
Councilman, it's a valid concern. What I would definitely say, different than gas compared to sewers and water is the depth of our infrastructure. So, our gas mains are traditionally about 3 feet deep, about 30 to 36 inches deep. Different than water and sewer that are much deeper. We take a look at the angle of repose, and the deeper the excavation, I think it's a valid point. But, when we're between 30 and 36 inches, that's where the new main is going to go, right next to our old main. So typically there is not, any impact to the other side of the street. Like Rosalie and Kate and Kelly were explaining, we insert the services. So, if we're digging on one side of the street, it is rare that we'll have to excavate the other side of the street. If we need to, we work with the city on those circumstances. But I think it's key, the depth of the gas main is not as deep as water and sewer.
Mr. Merwin, are you through?
Yeah, I'm not getting anywhere.
Okay. Anyone else on my left? Anyone on my right? Dr. Greenberg?
I think you have made a lot of improvements, whereas tagging every house with a door hanger, explaining what you're doing, the things you're putting on the Facebook. The reality is infrastructure has to be improved all the time. We always improve our infrastructure and put a lot of money into it. The MUA does a lot, and it has to get done. You should not, I think, be responsible for the whole street if you're only impacting one side of the street. That wouldn't be fair. We want to be fair also. And so working with the engineer, and I'll tell you, it has made improvement because years ago, that didn't happen. You were doing streets that we just, paved, and that's where people were irate. Working with our engineer and us recognizing that problem and remediating it has really made all the difference. So as far as improving it and notifying residents that there is a timeline, soil has to settle, the road, we will come back, we won't leave it like that, and it will look good, and then coordinating and possibly with engineering, when that's a street we're going to repave anyway, and now we're only responsible for half. So that's a savings for us. Listen, there's no perfect world, I understand it, but you have to improve the infrastructure, because if something serious happens, then everyone say you didn't improve your infrastructure. So doing this is a fact of reality. Those pipes have been under there for many years, decades, and things are changing, and we have to do our due diligence. And I appreciate you coming forward with it before there is a problem. And I hope everything comes to fruition where people do see savings with it, and also that we realize it's a safety issue, and also that you have made improvements, and I'm sure it was from all the complaints that you got, and so that you took action and that you did that speaks volumes. We want to be partners with everyone who does work in the town, and we want to make it good and proper for the residents. That's what we keep at first. And a lot of people jump the gun and want to point fingers and say this, and that's one way to react, instead of getting all the information and making sure things are done. Cross your I's, dot your I's and cross your T's, and getting it done right. And I would have to say, as you have complimented Nicole with our administration and engineering department, we all have heard the problems and they have listened, and I appreciate that. So I look forward to the improvements, and I realize the safety of it, and for the company, you have to make improvements. And I just, hope that it does go as smoothly as, your presentation said, and I hope the residents understand that this is what we have to do to make the town, better for everybody. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Pescetti?
Yes, when the guys were working over in Southwood and by my house, they were fantastic. They communicated. They, if you had any question, they'd come over and talk with you, and it was really a good experience, And yeah, they make a ditch, but then it gets covered up, and then it got paved, and it looks great. Did a good job. Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. We appreciate it.
Anyone else? Then in closing, I'd like to say thank you for coming. I think that communication and transparency is the way to go. And it does take, to come and sit here and listen. And yes, we had in the past a lot of concerns from the residents. So like Dr. Greenberg said, you did listen, and we have to work together with this. We do need these upgrades that we have to do for the town. But it is good to have you come, lay it all out, and listen to us too as well. So hopefully it is a good partnership. Thank you, Nicole. And I think we're going to be successful as long as we keep communicating the way we have been now. Thank you so much for coming this evening.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Oh. Yeah, she's got a very long wingspan. She does. No, she does. Deb, she does. Okay. All right, so we're gonna. mute the presentation? Right? Okay. All right, great. Next will be approval of minutes of previous meetings. Minutes of council combined meeting September 14th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Next will be our bill list. Mrs. Walker?
Accounts payable, $2,434,473.96. Payroll, October 1st, 2021, $1,052,518.21. Payroll overtime, October 1st, 2021, $52,623.14, for a total of $3,539,615.31.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Piscitty, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli. Mr. Shaw, may we have a breakdown of the overtime, please?
Thank you, Council President. As Councilwoman Walker indicated, the total overtime for this pay period was $52,623.14. There was a slight uptick in Parks and Recreation and the Public Works Department due to Albridge Day coverage. For the Police Department, the sworn officers' overtime was $36,502.39. Deduct grant, $11,925.63. Deduct ETO time, $8,227.71. The net overtime was $16,349.05, representing 425.5 men and women hours. There was no injured on duty or light duty, and one officer was quarantined during this pay period. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor? Yes. We have 8 ayes.
Council President? Murphy brought the motion. You said it was me. It was Murphy. Just want to make the correction.
To the bill list, there was the motion was Mr.
Oh,
Murphy
okay.
and seconded by Dr. Greenberg.
Oh,
Belli.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any more?
Oh, no, that's the end.
Okay, you're finished. Thank you so much, Mrs. Walker. Okay. Next, we don't have any reading public for second reading ordinances. Next will be our consent agenda. I'd like a motion and a second, and then we'll ask for separations. Who moved it? Mr. Rizzoli. Okay.
Second.
And then Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma, do you have any removals?
No, I do not.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
No, thank you.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Do you have any to remove? That's okay. Thank you. Mr. Murphy? Would you like to remove any items from the consent agenda?
No.
Mr. Piscitty?
No separations. Thank you.
Mr. Rizzoli?
None, thank you.
Ms. Walker?
No, thank you.
President Sohor?
No.
We have no removals then.
No removals. Correct.
Should I take a vote on the full agenda?
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yeah.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 8 ayes.
Okay. Next will be discussion ordinances. Ordinance amending the code of the Township of Albridge, specifically Article 3, various goods and services, Section 160.
Council President, I'm actually the one who put this up in conjunction with Acting Chief Mandola. We are proposing changes to the fees associated with our police department, which includes copies of reports and certain materials that are produced in records production. Some of the items on this ordinance are outdated, such as audio or videotape cassettes, so we can't produce those anymore, so there's no reason for us to have a fee associated. And we are also bringing our reports in conjunction with Title 39. That's the intent. And I know our attorney has a further review to do on some of our court reporting records that he can address to, and Acting Chief Mandola can address any others. But we wanted to discuss it first, and the next meeting have it prepared for first reading in case there were any questions or concerns.
Good evening. Okay. Can you give us a little more?
It's red. It's red. There it is.
Said, I work do that to best we can, and we're all set to go with that.
So they range from some of our report fees that were no longer in line with Title 39, which is the statute that oversees them. So we're bringing that up to date. It also includes digitation, like digitized records such as discs, photographs, and those types of things, as well as fingerprinting costs and ID costs. There's still further review required by our township attorney, but we still wanted to have a discussion if there were any questions.
Does any council person have a question? Mr. Pescetti?
Yeah, can you tell me what the fees were and what they're going to be? Or that I don't have in front of me.
I do.
She has them.
So our previous fees for the copies of all police reports are partially in conjunction with our Oprah law, which is 5 cents for a letter size copy and 7 cents for a legal size copy. But that's only if they're requested in person. Any type of electronic or alternate means of requesting reports from the police department used to, by Title 39, have a fee of $5 for the first 2 pages, and for each additional page, they were $1 per page. Title 39 changed to a maximum charge of $5 per report, so we wanted to make sure our ordinance was in line with that, so that would be the update to match with the statute. On top of that, we also had photographs listed within the section. There were crime scene, which included complete sets and then enlargement sizes, and they varied per picture. We are removing that as that's not something we produce at this point, and changed it to the digital photographs, which would be charged per disc, which I know our township attorney would like to confirm the pricing is accurate on that before we move forward. We would be removing the fee charges for audio and video cassettes, as those are no longer means that we have access to produce. We would be changing our fingerprinting to no longer offering for non-residents, and our township residents would be changed from $5 to $10. And then we would add the stipulation for firearm purchase permits and fire ID cards to be the fees associated with the statutes aligned with them. That way, anytime the statute changes, our ordinance would change automatically rather than us having to consistently update it.
Okay. Going back to what you said, no more cassettes or whatever. What did you change it to? Because now it is digital. So whether it's email or a disc or a USB, whatever.
So in regards to our Oprah, most of our fees for reproduction go under Oprah. So we don't actually have to address it within the ordinance because it's the cost associated is laid to the requester, which means that if they Oprah request it and it's through electronic means, meaning email or shared drive, there's no charge to it. If they were to request a flash drive or disk, it would be the cost that the town had to pay for that material, which would differ depending on the nature of the size of the photographs or content being provided. So it's harder to write that into an ordinance as a set fee because if you need 2 photographs on a disc, that's 1 disc.
There's also labor involved, right?
Well, for the records reproduction, we can't include labor unless there's a special service fee. So it's just the cost associated with the response. So generally, if they needed a flash drive at a certain gigabyte, we would charge whatever that charge was to the township would be relayed to the requester.
So when someone is looking for a police report or something like that, you're going to require them to do an Oprah request.
They're not required to do an Oprah request for a police report. They can request that directly from the police department. The difference is if they request it in person, they are charged reproduction rates, which is 5 cents per letter size copy and 7 cents per legal size copy. if they request the record in any other means, which they can do directly through the police department, not just through Oprah, but in either scenario, any means not in person would be charged $5 per report.
Okay, so basically what you're doing is you're taking what we have and making it in accordance to Title 39.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman, just our police reports are already online. We made it available online several years back, and there's convenience fee gets charged when they go online.
Anyone else on my right? Anyone on my left? Okay.
When I reviewed the ordinance, I did some research, and what I found was, at least on some levels, local departments, is that Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office puts a fee out there that they want that everybody's supposed to follow. So frankly, that's what I'm trying to find out. Because I wanted to make sure, like, for instance, Oprah, you get, like a CD. You can get 100 of them for whatever, cost, and you're only allowed to charge what that one CD is, right? You can't charge like $30 for a CD. It's only the cost of the CD. So I just need to check to make sure the fee that was proposed is in line with the county prosecutor's office. And if that's the case, if it's not, then I need to have discussions. So we'll be ready to move it forward next meeting.
Okay, very good.
So just so I understand, then the fee changes because what 100 discs cost one time, it may not cost the same another time. And what did they do about that?
Well, you don't put in, like, in other words, with Oprah, like the clerk was saying, is that you don't put a number in there. She keeps the receipts for all this stuff. So she knows, if it's a disc is X dollars or whatever it is, and the same with thumb drives. She keeps those so that she has backup. So if somebody, says something, she can say, well, here's the receipt.
Thank you for that explanation.
Okay, anyone else for a question for our attorney? No? Okay, well, thank you, Captain. Thank you, Gabby. Okay. Next for discussion will be ordinance accepting roadways within the commons at Albridge, AKA Effort Estates Development. Good evening again, Mrs. Shapiro.
Good evening. Council President, I just want to recognize that Tony Velez from the Commons at Albridge, Efforts Estates is in the audience. If you come up,
Yeah,
and
if you'd like to
take
come
a
up,
seat with
please,
me.
Mr. Villa. Thank you.
We could put him in the hot seat.
Yes, we can. Thank you so much.
Someone may recall that in 2018, actually March of 2018, Mr. Velez and his group did appear before council and require that the roadways within the commons at Albridge to let's check this one out. The roadways in the commons to have the township accept the maintenance responsibility and the upgrades to the roadways. At that time, the engineering office had gone out and did an investigation to report back to council and to tell council what would be required of the HOA to do to those roadways to bring them up to current standards. Typically, the development was older. The roads needed to be resurfaced. The curb pieces and the inlet grates needed to be upgraded to bicycle safe. The grate head pieces needed to be upgraded to DEP standards. And so we did report and give them a laundry list of items that they had to do. Should the council look to accept? At that time, they had committed to the township that they were willing to make that investment. And they came to council in March of 2018. Council voted in the affirmative to say, if you do make that investment, we will accept your roads. In November 2019 to December, they had done that work. Typically, November timeframe and December are pretty good months to still do that activity. They did it in advance of the HMA or the asphalt plants closing. I don't know if anybody would recall, that was that November snowstorm that came out of the blue, nobody was aware of. We were sort of paving in the midst of that. The roads were inspected by the engineering office. The construction was done by a contractor up from North Jersey, not somebody that typically does municipal roadway work, but we were out there inspecting. Typically, on any municipal job that we have, a contractor posts a maintenance bond for a 2-year period. At the end of the 2-year period, we go out, we take another look at the roads, and we come up with a punch list. Same in this scenario. 2 years later, we come up with a punch list and we present it to Tony and say, these are the concerns we have, some very minor in nature. 2 sections of 2 different roads, of all the roads within the development, have severe alligator cracking. We had done in those small areas base repair. So we didn't only resurface and make them repair the top 2 inches, we actually made them repair the base section. So an additional 5 inches of base course and then the 2 inches of surface course. That area is typically wet where the Commons at Albridge is located. It's difficult when you start doing base repair. Sometimes if you don't do enough, it'll exhibit some pavement failures in other location adjacent to where you did your base repair. We see that on 2 of the roads included in the punch list. That's probably severe point where 2 of these roads showed some failure. Other than that, the punch list is very mundane. In meeting, Tony met with myself and our BA, and we recognized efforts that the community had made in reconstructing their roadways and bringing it up to current standards. They did go back with our punch list to their contractor. I mean, obviously, after a 2-year period, they're going to pay top dollar for this contractor to come back out. We did a small estimate in-house just to see what that dollar amount would be for the township under just the unit rates that we typically get on our paving project. And it's probably about half the cost that they were getting. In recognizing that, I'm asking council to accept the roadways, put forth accepting the roadways, and know that we would then take on punch list items for the HOA, seeing that they had invested that $400,000 of their own money into their infrastructure. And then the intent of completing that punch list in our 2022 annual road resurfacing contract. Curb to curb, and I don't know, is this okay, the volume? We're going to accept the roadways curb to curb as delineated in the exhibit I had put into Novus. We will only take the roadways between the curb areas. We will not take any open space, no recreational areas, no drainage outside of the roadway bed, not the tennis courts, not the parking areas. There's perpendicular parking that are cutouts to the roadway bed. We will just follow the gutter line in those locations and not take the parking area. So what I'm asking tonight is just to bring forth that at the next council meeting, I would put an ordinance in front of you accepting the roads, and that would be Candlewick Court, Homestead Drive, Fireside Court, north and south, Denton Court, north and south, Cable Court, north and south, and Hale Court, north and south, curb to curb, for acceptance as public roads within the community, knowing that we would, as a township, do the minor punch list items in our contract for about summer in 2022.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the overview. Now I'd go to council. Anyone on my right have a question? Mr. Peschetti.
I don't really get it. This was a private development at one time, right? And they built all their roads, but it was out of spec. It wasn't to DOT specifications.
No, what happened was at the time of I think this was in front of the zoning board at the time, they have a higher density, so they have more units per acre than was permitted in that zone. The roads were inspected during that time. They were done at that time, but currently been resurfaced within 35 years. Can you resurface our roadways? Right. So instead, say you have to invest in the infrastructure, you have to bring it up to current standards, which means you have to resurface it. And now, back when they were approved, there were no bicycle safe grades. That wasn't in play then. The NJDEP requires, the inlet curb pieces to be sort of to minimize any debris from getting into the inlets. That didn't. So it's not that they weren't built to the standard. It's that we want to bring them up to current standards. They are inspected. They're inspected by the town when they're constructed. When they were built, just the same as they would be inspected today. But
so they're a private development, and they were maintaining their own roads all this time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were they paving their own? Plowing.
They were plowing their own roads. Yes.
Right. So now the town's going to take this on if we vote in the affirmative, and we're going to take over.
But the town actually did vote to accept the roads in 2018.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Just don't remember the discussion.
March 2018.
Okay.
March 5th. Yeah, in 2018.
Councilman, I think just to clarify, what Nicole is presenting here right today is that you already accepted the road requiring a lot of improvements. The developments did invested $400,000 of their own money to bring it to the current standard. There's a couple of areas, the minor issues but overall, the road conditions are agreeing, and she's asking that we move forward, accept the road, so she can incorporate it in our road plan on a regular basis. There is moratorium. The development is not coming to the council for road improvements outside of our normal process. I think that's, in a nutshell, that's what she's trying to get the council's attention, saying we're going to be coming to you next meeting with an ordinance to that the final acceptance. And I think I have reviewed everything with Nicole, questioned her, and as well as I met with the association, and I think I'm in concurrence that we should accept the road at this point.
Do we have a cost analysis of what it's actually going to cost the town?
They already invested their own $400,000 already. So they'll be part of our normal road maintenance process, like as we do every year. When there's going to be need, there's going to be qualification of those roads. I don't think that we have any cost for next 5 years, except the couple of areas where there is a alligator cracking is going to take place. But we'll provide you that information. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else for a comment on my right? Anyone on my left? Mr. Murphy?
Nicole, we don't accept developments like that anymore, do we? New ones coming on, we won't let them go private, will we?
If there's an HOA, sometimes if I know that there's currently one in front of the zoning board where the developer was the width of the roadway didn't meet residential site improvement standards and they were making it a private roadway. They do meet everything else. They do create an HOA because if they have a detention basin or some sort of stormwater management facility, we don't have the personnel nor the staff in our DPW to maintain the intricacy now that's required with these stormwater management facilities. So these developments have to create an HOA to at least at a minimum maintain these detention.
Because we stopped that years ago at the MUA because they had to go and fix everything, and it cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And then we accept them, but we won't accept the HOAs anymore that way.
Mhm.
I just thought, I didn't know if you did or not. I appreciate it.
Anyone else on my left? Mr. De Palma? Okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank the development for putting the work in. I know being on an HOA board, asking your residents within the board to spend the money to eventually hand over that property is a lot. But to thank you and Mr. Velez and all the folks within your neighborhood and getting that done and as quickly as you did. Thank you.
Anyone else for a comment or a question? Okay, well, I too want to say thank you for all the hard work that you've done. You've represented that HOA for many years in such a positive way, and you've worked very well with us. It's been a long time, but I think we finally have come to a good place with this. And I do thank you for all the hard work and all the money that was invested. That was a big investment on the part of the HOA.
Well, thank you very much, and I wanted to thank Nicole Shapiro and her group in terms of giving us the guidance and the understanding as to how to get us to a good place here, and to the town council members and their guidance as well. It's a pleasure to come to a good place here on this, and thank you.
Okay, so are we going to move this up, Kenny? Nothing. Okay, we're good. Oh, yep, we'll be ready for first reading. Okay, very good. All right, well, thank you for taking the time to come, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
That's great. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Tom. Okay. You good? Okay, next we'll have a discussion, rescinding. Yeah. Okay, rescinding Rose Lambertson Golf Course Plan and drafting regulations for the ER, Environmentally Sensitive Recreation Zone. Good evening.
Says insufficient data. Just blank. Insufficient data for an image. It's given. It's on the desktop, right? It was open.
Because the flash drive doesn't have enough. You want to go first?
Again, thank you, Council. We're here for a presentation and discussion. Avina has to take some action in regards to the new golf course that is going to be constructed. I believe because of the time that has lapsed between the old redevelopment plan and the new plan that's in place, Avina needs to make some changes, and she's more than qualified to explain to the council what we need the council to take action on or want to talk about. So, Avina, please take it away.
Good evening, Chairwoman. Good evening, council members. So there has been a lot of excitement and anticipation associated with the Rose Lambertson golf course. And we thought this was a great opportunity, one, to give an update on the progress, as well as bring up some issues that need to be cleared before we proceed with the plan. So to give you a little bit of history, the Rose Lambertson golf course site contains 4 tax lots and it contains approximately 218 acres of land. This property is owned by the township and was bought using Green Acres Fund, meaning that we can develop this property only for recreational use. In 2006, April of 2006, the council adopted a redevelopment plan for this property. And at the time of the adoption, there was a developer in place who was interested in leasing the property, building the golf course, and then operating it. Obviously, he required a pilot to do so, so he was designated as a redeveloper, and a redevelopment plan was crafted. What you see on the screen is the concept. I apologize, this is the only image we had, but what you see is within the southwest quadrant of the intersection of Lambertson Road and Amboy Avenue is the parking lot and the clubhouse. It's an 18-hole golf course. There's a maintenance building located on John Partridge Road. But this was the original concept. Fast forward 20 years later, we still don't have any development on the site. Now we have a developer who is willing to develop an 18-hole golf course on this property, build it, and then dedicate it to the township, which means that the township would own the 18-hole golf course. In addition to the 18-hole golf course, there would be a driving range and a miniature golf. So the concept is on this screen, and the design of the golf course has been progressing quite well. The developer is willing to work with the township, and so are his professionals. Nicole and I have been continuously communicating with the entire team. And if this project comes to fruition, then this definitely will be an asset to the township. So this is a concept, but please remember, this is just an initial concept. We are still working, so it's a work in progress. We are still fine-tuning the details of the plan. So we did meet the developers team last week, offered some initial comments. When I was reviewing those comments, something came across was that the 2006 redevelopment plan is outdated. It was tailor-made for the developer who was then going to lease this property. And so that poses a challenge. To talk about the golf course, one of the key differences you will see is based on the old plan, the parking lot and the clubhouse was located right at the corner here of Lambertson Road and Amboy Avenue, right opposite residences. Now, based on this new concept, the parking lot and the clubhouse has been moved away from the residences. And there will be a driving range and a miniature golf course in this area. Now, in design of the golf course, there were specific care was taken related to the traffic and the circulation along Lambertson Road and Amboy Avenue. We acknowledge that when you make a turn on Lambertson Road from John Partridge Road onto Lambertson Road, this is pretty much a straight road. So as in terms of design features, a speed bump will be added to slow down traffic. There will be signage that will be added. There will be solar powered beacon lights to warn the drivers that there is moving traffic. The golf course was designed by renowned golf course designer Stephen Kay. He's responsible for designing golf courses such as Forest in Monroe Township, Fiddler's Elbow in Bedminster, and Nolf Golf Club in Parsippany. He's designed numerous golf courses. The design of the golf course was pretty much driven by the fact that there are significant wetlands on the property. The much of the design was based on the cart path crossing, which will be around this area from the parking lot, and then the ability to use quarter-acre disturbance. Like I mentioned before, now the entrance to the parking lot will be further away from the residences. The golf club will contain one cashier. The golf club will have a receiving area for all three amenities, the 18-hole golf course, the driving range, and the miniature golf. There will be one well on site for irrigation. The domestic service to the clubhouse as well as the maintenance building will be through OBMUA. There are, as you see, numerous ponds and bioretention basins for irrigation purposes as well as for water conservation. And this is in the nutshell an initial concept. We're still working. Once it's finalized, we will be back in front of you. But when Nicole and I were reviewing this concept, there were a few things that came that, what are the setbacks? How much buffers do we need from a parking lot? Or what do we need to monitor or regulate the design? And that's when I looked at the 2006 plan, which is outdated. So at the next meeting, I will be in front of you requesting to rescind the 2006 redevelopment plan. Now, typically, I would have come in front of you and asked you for an amendment of the plan. But at that time, when the redevelopment plan was created, the developer was interested in getting a pilot. That's when you go through the redevelopment route. Now, this is a township-owned project. It will be owned and operated by the township. The developer is developing this as part of a redeveloper's agreement with the plan that is associated with Route 9 and Jake Brown Road. So we don't require a pilot. And so the best and the quickest route would be to rescind the 2006 plan and look at the underlying zoning. Luckily, the underlying zoning for this area is ER, Environmental Sensitive Recreation Zone. The good part about it is it allows for golf courses, driving ranges, and miniature golf course. The downside is there are no bulk standards written for this ER zone. So next time when I come in front of you, it will be to rescind the 2006 redevelopment plan, at the same time rescind and replace the ER zone, wherein I will write new design standards and bulk standards for the ER zone that are more acceptable to us. To give you an example, when reviewing the plan, the parking lot was roughly 30 feet from or 25 feet from the residential property. Now, typically, with all our other ordinances, we require a 25-foot buffer. Since this is a golf course, I thought it's quite important to have at least a 50-foot buffer from the parking area. We discussed it with the designers. They were more than willing to move the parking lot away from the residential property line. But once we have an ordinance in place, we have the bulk standards and the design standards, it will be easier for us to regulate and review the design. So I will be coming back at the next meeting with 2 ordinances, one to rescind the 2006 redevelopment plan, and again to replace and rescind the ER zone.
I just want to add one thing to the council members, that while the developers is going to build the golf course, Township in at least the first 10 years he will continue to operate the golf course. There will be a set amount of fee, significant amount of fee will be paid to the township on annual basis, so we'll have a guaranteed revenue from the operation of golf course. But we're not interested in operating a golf course and running the golf course operation.
Now, anyone on my right have a question? Mr. Preschetti.
This is pretty exciting. I'd like to know if you change the ER zone. Are there any other ER zones in Oldbridge that may be impacted?
There are, and I'm not changing the ER zone. All I'm doing is right now the ER zone doesn't have any standards. So few months back, there was a resident who was wanting to build a home in the ER zone, and he has always been there. But now he cannot build anything because the ER zone doesn't even contemplate single-family homes. For some reason, the property was included, but he can't even build a home. It's a vacant lot. So this is our chance to reevaluate, look at the ordinance, see what can be permitted, and create bulk standards and design standards to allow those type of uses. So we will not be eliminating the zone. And when we look at it, we will look at it thoroughly for other users and how it impacts other properties as well.
Thank you very much. Good job.
Okay. Anyone else on my right? Mrs. Walker?
Yes, the only concern I have is there's a property right now that was for sale, and I guess it was bought. They were taking a lot of trees down today, right next to where the golf course is going to be. They were there all day taking trees down. So I don't know that at this point we know what's going to be there. But I'm concerned about the traffic situation that's already bad at Lambertson and Amboy. I don't know if they're going to put apartments there or what, but they took a lot of trees down today.
We are not aware of anything that has come up, but we'll definitely look into it. Oh.
Yes, we looked into that. The property owner has a permission for a single tree, right? I got to come here or see if you can answer.
The property at 211 had taken a tree down. They had a permit in July. That tree is already down. Gary Lavala went out today and checked on 207, who was doing a lot of activity, but they were removing ivy, brush, and weeds, from my understanding from Mr. Lavala in his
I
investigation.
saw them putting trees in a chipper, so.
Yeah, he said that he was out there. He said that there was no evidence of tree removal other than brush, ivy, and weeds.
So that's 11 acres, I believe, over there that's for sale. So we don't know eventually what's going to go there. It's owned R40, I believe.
Maybe R40, yeah.
What do you think the
We'll
impact
have to keep an eye on that.
of
to make
cars
sure
per
that-
day you think the course is going to generate? How many cars a day?
The course, I would wait to comment on that because right now the design is being reviewed by a traffic consultant. And so from what I hear, it was going to be approximately 4 cars every 9 minutes. That's what I had heard. But we still have to go through the traffic review process and come up with any solutions or any changes that need. But we are still working on the concept. And again, once the concept is finalized, we will be back in front of you. So you will see once there is a final version, I will be coming back and making a presentation.
Because that corner cannot handle any more traffic at this point. It's horrible over there. I mean, I live right there. It's absolutely horrible. It's getting really bad.
Are you through?
I think the golf course will help slow down because, the crossing and everything, so traffic will have to be slowed down on that. So I think that'll be helpful in slowing down the traffic on that road.
Well, it's just that it's a dangerous intersection to go across, so I don't think that's going to change. I think it's still going to be a very dangerous intersection.
Are you through, Mrs. Walker? Yes. Okay. Dr. Greenberg?
Yes, I think obviously everyone is very excited about this project, and it will enhance the town and bring many benefits. With that said, I think at this point in time, we do have an opportunity that we all know, and it's been in front of this board, it's been on our minds, it's terrible, some of the accidents that have been at Disbrow and Amboy Road. And looking at the golf course, I think we have the opportunity that we can change that intersection to alleviate the difficulties that we've all, experienced in that area. And we've talked about it before, so I'll be interested to see where that goes, how you address it, and I think it would really benefit it. It will slow down the traffic even more. And I think it will eliminate accidents at that corner because it will not be aligned and people won't be taking chances because there are going to be more cars coming from that way, going to the golf course from Disbrow, from Amboy, both in both directions. So I think if we take this golden opportunity that we're given here now and we address that intersection, I think we will save lives. And I think it behooves us to look into that, not to risk this moment in time, this risk. So I can't emphasize this amount. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else on my right? No, you already spoke. On my left, anyone? Mr. Murphy.
I think you did a great job explaining this and everything. I'm not going to, I've heard about the designer, and Fiddler's Elbow's got to be one of the nicest golf courses around. I'm not going to say an expert in golf, but I play a lot of it. I've looked at the whole golf course. I've looked at the yardages and stuff. It's definitely a championship course. It's going to be considered a championship course. And I think the outline's great, and I just appreciate you doing all the work on it. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else on my left? Mr. De Palma?
Yes, no, I know we were in front of the, is this working now? All right, you were in front of the planning board talking about this. And I think it's a great project. I think what Councilman Murphy said as well, the designer of the course designed some really nice courses. I'm a terrible golfer, and I'm sure I'm going to be putting about 400 or 500 golf balls into some of these retention basins over here. But I definitely think that it will be a shining piece in our township, and will bring a nice revenue to the town as well. Great job.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Paschetti.
Said something about a speed bump. Well,
it is one of the traffic calming measures. So what I was trying to say is we recognize that there have been concerns related to traffic, and the designers are working on trying to alleviate any of those concerns. Bless you. Speed hump.
Speed hump. Not a bump, but a hump.
I would just like to add, in Monmouth County, in Deal Golf Course, where Deal Golf Course in Hollywood, they have it also. I mean, it's a very common thing that you see with the land masses to connect them or crossing.
And one other thing, Will the golf carts be going across Lambertville Road?
Yes, they will be
So there'll be a golf cart crossing?
crossing, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, see, they have it in Edison, I've seen it. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, seeing no hands, I would like to say thank you and also reiterate there are some questions, that we're concerned about, and I think they have very good merit. So we'll continue making progress.
And this is just the concept, and all
Right.
your questions will be answered, and obviously we'll do a complete analysis on the surrounding
Yep.
areas and the impact on traffic and safety. And if we do have the opportunity to improve things, we certainly will.
Yeah, very good. Thank you so much for coming this evening. It's thank you. Okay, we good? Okay, next will be report of the township clerk.
I actually have one tonight. I just wanted to advise everyone that our general election is November 2nd, 2021. Polls will be open at 6 a.m. and will close at 8 p.m. Also this year, we are introducing early voting. There are 10 locations in Middlesex County, and one of them will be located in Old Bridge at Veterans Park Community Building. Voters who use early voting will be able to vote on a machine. Early voting will be open Saturday, October 23rd, and will go until Sunday, October 31st. Polls will be open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you'd like more information on anything election related, please visit oldbridge.com/elections or please contact the Township Clerk's office with any questions. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. I'd like a motion to accept.
Move it.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma is absent. Dias. Dr. Greenberg Belli. Mr. Merwin.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy. Absent. Dias. Mr. Piscitty. Mr. Rizzoli.
Yes.
Ms. Walker.
Yes.
President Sohor.
Yes.
6 ayes.
Okay, next report of the township attorney.
None at this time.
Thank you. Administrative report, Mr. Shah.
Thank you, Council President. Administrative report for October 12, 2021. Item number 1, Coat Drive. The Department of Public Works and the Old Bridge Food Bank will be hosting its first ever Coat Drive. The Share the Warm Coat Drive will be held on Saturday, November 6, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Recycling Center. Join us in helping residents in need stay warm with this winter by donating new or gently used coats, hats, scarves, and gloves. This will be a drive-through drop-off, so all you need to do is drive up and we'll take care of the rest. We thank you in advance for your support. I want to thank Casey and Anna for coming up with this great idea. Item number 2, Fall Paper Share event. There will be a Township Paper Share event on Friday, October 29th in 3 various locations. Please visit oldbridge.com/recycling for the times and the details. Item number 3, Fall Leaf Pickup Schedule. Fall leaf pickup begins on October 25th. Leaves will be picked up by the ward from now through the end of December. Please visit oldbridge.com/recycling for schedule. Item number 4, Fall Television Pickup. There will be a township-wide pickup of TV on October 14th. We will pick up all TVs, any size, any kind. Please contact the recycling department at 732-721-5600, extension 6107, or email recycling@oldbridge.com to make an appointment. Item number 5, before and after school day care. Currently, we have 415 children enrolled in for the before and after school care program. We are now down to only 10 students on a wait list from the original number of 96. We're still actively pursuing applicants for the open positions, such as paras, aides, and nurses. To apply, visit oldbridge.com and click Employment Opportunities. As we hire a new employee, we will then take the children off the wait list in order they were put on. If you have any questions, please reach out to before and after-school care department at afterschool@oldbridge.com or call extension 2395 or visit our website at oldbridge.com/daycare. Item number 6, Halloween Spectacular. This year, Halloween Spectacular will take place on Saturday, October 30th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Municipal Complex. There will be a DJ, hayride, face painting, pumpkin picking, and much more for the entire family to enjoy. Item number 7, Hurricane Ida request for public assistance deadline extension. FEMA has approved the state request to extend the request for public assistance deadline for Hurricane Ida. Please visit oldbridge.com/news for detailed information on the application procedure and requirement. Item number 8, Old Bridge Police Department. Old Bridge Police Department began the hiring process for new officers. The written test was given this past Saturday, October 9th. 116 individuals signed up for the test with a final count of 89 individuals showing up for the actual test. Those who pass will be invited to take the physical agility portion of the testing process on Saturday, November 6th. Council members, one more item. Mayor, myself, Steve Mamakis, and Councilman Dave Merwin attended a groundbreaking by Habitat for Humanity on a Norwood Avenue this morning. So they started they're going to start the actual construction starting tomorrow, and they're very close to starting the process on the 12 homes that we have agreed right on Lawrence Parkway corner. That was our old school senior building. That concludes my report.
Okay, does anyone have any comments or questions for Mr. Shaw? Mr. Pescetti?
Thank you for your report, Mr. Shaw. I just have a question. How many police officers are we hiring?
Well, right now, it's not the final number. I think that there's, our last list expired, so we are now creating new list. And as the retirement takes place, we'll be hiring officers either from the list or to the alternate route that council has approved. But there is no specific number at this time. But we believe that by the time we get done, the list will be about 30 to 40 people looking to work for Old Bridge Township.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else on my right? On my left, anyone a question? Mr. Merwin?
Just on that point of the police department, aren't we capped at a certain number?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Are we not capped at a certain number on the police department?
I believe the ordinance has a set number of officers under the ordinance. I believe it's 104. 105, okay.
We're at that number, right?
We're close to that number. You always want to maintain the list as officers either resign or retire, that we want to be able to replace from the list. So that's the purpose of the list. I think it's important to recognize that we have, Old Bridge has, large number of people still wants to work for the Old Bridge Police Department.
And we haven't given a test in quite a while, and it's just one of the tools recently we've gone alternate route to fill seats, and I think it's a good idea to have people who have not put themselves through the academy the ability to take a test and be eligible for a police officer. So it's just another tool in the toolbox, another group of individuals to pick from when the seats do become available, and I'm confident that they will. And if we do need to come back to the council and raise those numbers by ordinance, we certainly will.
Okay, anyone else for a question? No? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move it, second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Pescetti, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli. Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 8 ayes.
Okay, next comment? Do we have anyone signed up?
They don't have to sign up anymore.
I mean, do we have anyone here in the public that wishes to speak? Oh, that's right, it's the end of the night. I'm not used to being in private here. Anyone? No? Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion and now go to council comments.
Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma, do you have any council comments tonight?
Yes, just real quick, so as everyone can see on either television or online, we are sitting in the newly revamped council chambers. I just wanted to thank everyone involved. Ms. Shapiro, excellent job. It looks beautiful, extremely bright. I feel like every time we go into presentation, it's like walking out of a movie theater into the bright lights, but excellent work for you, your staff, and everyone involved in the township. Mr. Shaw, excellent work. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate that. Positive.
Thank you. Dr. Greenberg-Bella, do you have any comments tonight?
Yes, several things. First of all, I'd like to make a clarification. There is a Albridge residence page in Albridge. And, you know, it's election time and it's very sad, some of the things that go on at elections. I think it's totally unnecessary. I would stick just to the issues. But what happens a lot of times, candidates are solicited to answer a lot of questions from different entities. And I feel answering to an Albridge residence page, it sounds good, that sounds the title, like these acronyms they always throw out, Albridge residence, good to communicate. So I know that the Republican candidates did not respond to the questionnaires that they put out. And it was really for a reason. That page has slandered these individuals more than one time. So why would the Albridge candidates respond on that page? There are more traditional forums to use. There are areas for debate. You could actually have a debate and discussion with these things. So to answer questions when you are when family members have even been slandered on that page by individuals, and to put yourself in that precarious situation, it is not advised. So I just want everyone to know that, you know, there will be a traditional taping in this town. You will see for the candidates yourself. Every one of those candidates are involved in the town, whether they're council members or not. They are committed and dedicated to this town and put a positive foot forward. There's no reason ever to go ahead and slander a person and to slander family members. So that's why, if anyone, I just wanted to put it on record, because people are going around, oh, they didn't answer the questions on Albridge residents. There's no reason to. And I would like to add that the administrator of that page doesn't even live in Albridge. So really, it just raises a lot of questions. And I felt that was necessary to clear up that situation for the candidates. The second thing is, for anyone who watched the Board of Ed candidates night, I want to tell you, I used to go to that for many, many years, more than 10 years, maybe close to 20 years. And I always find it amazing when I would write on index cards. They give you index cards to ask the candidates questions. I've been there many years, even if it was just 5 years. They have never taken one of my questions. So it's a comical forum to present questions to the candidates. You write on these cards, and then they have monitors there picking them. And so I think it's funny that they can pick through these cards and decide, oh, we don't want this one. Oh, we'll ask this one. And then there's catch questions for some people and orchestrated questions for another. But one of the things that was upsetting to me when I listened to it, and I get it, all these things happen. This is politics. This is campaigns. And that's how it is. I say, state your piece, run on your record, put a positive foot forward, and you want to be positive for the town. Negativity doesn't benefit anybody. So the next thing that I heard was that the township does not come to their aid to help the Board of Ed enough. Now, that is one of the most disturbing things ever. When you think of the shared services that we have with the school, The fields that we have done, over at Gike Park, that they use it, we've improved those fields. The police that we put in, shared service that we have to put the police in team. Oh, by the way, Albridge residents says they're just secretaries, okay? So that's very upsetting to me, to demean the police and the efforts that they do in the schools. Then also, as far as the suggestion, I was on conference calls weekly during COVID with a team of people that included Citadino. So when they think that we've ignored the schools, I would have you know, to the superintendent, I have personally made, had conversations, recommendations during COVID based on the input that I was getting from residents, a valuable input from residents, a broad spectrum around the town. So I never ignore any segment of this town, whether it's the residents, the ones that have students in the school, whether it's the taxpayers, whether it's the seniors, whether it's this disabled special needs children. We do not ignore them, this administration, this council at all. And I would like to end with one other thing. When you talk about what we have done, we have put up in an instant, as you know, what just happened before the schools opened. Shara, Councilman Rizzoli got a phone call from parents that the school the next day wasn't going to open, that their kids weren't going to have their traditional first day of class when other students and other friends went to other schools. He reached out to the administration, and in a short amount of time, we had our campus, the municipal campus facilities available to those students. So when you think the township doesn't stand up for the Board of Ed all the time and all the residents, that's a falsehood. And I don't like spreading falsehoods at all. And I would also like to say, when you do that, what are you trying to achieve? What are you doing? That is not good for anybody. So that is very upsetting. And we responded so quickly where those kids had a place to have their school. We opened up our facilities. They rearranged the senior center for them, the library. We reacted. But I will add, why did they just know this, the school, just the night before? That's when those parents got the letter. They were so upset when they reached out to Councilman Rizzoli. Why was it just found out the night before? Don't you go into your buildings? Haven't you been working on them all summer? So whatever the reason, I'm not going to throw darts in that way. I just like really to resolve a problem. We recognized there was a problem and resolved it. But when you throw things at us saying we don't do anything, you are going to get a response. So I hope you listen to this tonight. And it's factual. It's not any name calling or anything. It's clarification. And that's what this is, clarification. We all work very hard and we all want the whole town in every aspect to be positive because it only benefits everybody who lives here. Thank you for your time.
Council President, if I may ask if any council member has a question for our professional or they can leave.
Absolutely. Anybody have any? No?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
No.
And
Yes.
and I just want to correct myself. I earlier spoke about the number of police officers. I was given the information text to me by Sergeant Herb Doctor that we have 116 total officers in ordinance, 87 officers in patrol, 16 sergeants, 8 lieutenants, 4 captains, and 1 chief.
Thank you all for this evening. Good night.
He's watching the meetings.
Sorry.
Good job.
Mr. Merwin, do you have any comments tonight?
Yes, I do. Halloween's coming up. So we just want to have those kids safe. So we want everybody slowed down. It's a great thing. I think we're going to have a meeting before that, don't we? What is the date on that? We were just going back and forth on it.
The next meeting is October 26th.
25th, okay.
6th.
26th. Thank you.
2-6.
And that's all. I just want to wish everybody, if I'm not here at the next meeting, to have a happy Halloween. Thank you.
Mr. Murphy, do you have any comments tonight?
Yes, I'm not speaking to anybody or people at home. You have to come down and see this courtroom. It looks great. And I just want to thank everybody that had any part in doing it. It's bright, it's clean, it looks really nice. And the seats are more comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Piscitty. Do you have any comments tonight?
Yes, I'm just going to ask for everybody just to slow down on the streets. You know, there's a lot of accidents. It's very dangerous, you know, especially on the small roads. The speed limit is 25, and sometimes the 25 is too fast. We have a lot of kids out on the street. There's, you know, schools open, and we got Halloween. You know, so I just ask everybody that's listening to just slow it down, please. A little patience and a little respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rizzoli. Do you have any comments tonight? Ms. Walker?
Yes, first I want to say I'm so happy to be back in person. I really didn't like being on Zoom. I didn't feel engaged. And the courtroom is beautiful. I encourage you to come down to see it. We can actually see what we're doing up here. And I want to thank Nicole for all her hard work. Next, it's October. It's Fire Prevention Month. And I just want people to know some of the fire companies are not doing their traditional open houses this year due to the COVID. But just remember to change your batteries in your smoke alarms like we change the clocks every year. And there's another thing I want to say. There's a rumor going around that I've been hearing around that the township has sold township land to a builder. And I just want to clarify it for the public that it's actually the Board of Ed that has sold their property to a builder. It's not the township of Albridge. I just want to clarify that because I've been getting a lot of calls. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification.
And President Zohar.
Yes, I just want to say again, too, I am very happy to be here. I think everything went well. It took a little, you know, took some time. But again, that's important because they got it right. So sometimes things take a little longer, but the success of them is obvious by tonight. So this was really a collaborative effort on Mary Granahan. Mary, thank you so much. I know you really went above and beyond, and it really took a lot. But thank you so much, and naturally, Gabby, and Nicole, and so on. I think everyone really worked well together, Mr. Shaw, to make this come about. So
I think you pointed out the people that has put in a lot of effort.
Yes.
Gabby, Mary, Nicole, and her staff, and many others. Constantly steering committee, coming up with thinking about everything that we need to get on this courtroom. And the color selection was by Nicole.
yes, and I think this is going to serve us well into the future, many years from now as well. Also, on your report, you spoke about the coat drive, and I think it's a really, really great initiative. Hopefully, people will come out. We've had such a positive response to our food drives that I really hope that we will have the same success with the coat drive. This was a very, very good idea. Thank you all very much.
Mary?
Yes, Mr. Irwin.
Just one question. I had it written down that I was going to ask. It's for the administration. The DCA has a mitigation assistance program for elevating the houses. It's for the flood-prone areas. Do we know anything about it, or can we find out any information if we'd be included into it? And any of our residents are entitled to that.
I don't have that any specific information.
I have it here in the planner thing. It's right in the planner
in this magazine. Yeah.
March, April edition.
I will follow up and see what I can get.
Yeah, it's a DCA program, all right? Thanks. That's it.
Okay. All right. Very good. Gabby?
I just wanted to note, and I apologize I didn't say it in my report, for everyone out there, that we will be returning to in-person meetings only. If a remote or integrated meeting is necessary, it would be advertised. So we do welcome all of our residents as well in the public to come, as this is their forefront to have public comment and things like that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Next, we will be going into an executive session.
Make a motion.
Second.
Who made the motion?
Motion was,
I don't believe we're taking any action.
no. And then we're going to return to adjourn.
Yes.
No.
Thank you.
We won't just let the public know we
Yeah,
won't be returning.
Right. We'll not be returning to the television. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
Was it Ms. Walker seconded?
Did you make the motion?
Make a motion, we go into executive session.
Oh.
Oh, you did, all right. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, Anita. Okay, I'm sorry. I could turn my head to.
So Ms. Brown is absent. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor? Yes. That's 8 ayes to adjourn to executive session.